Hello, hello, and welcome to the StarCraft 2 Pro-Am by GeForce, the GSPA. We're going to be doing a little Cruncher versus Spanishiwa action. I am Day 9.
And I am H to the Husky. Sean, I am extremely excited for this matchup. We saw last week Spanishiwa versus Goody, two very unique playstyles and two big personalities in the StarCraft scene, and there's really nothing different about the games we're going to be seeing today. Cruncher and Spanishiwa, both known very well in the StarCraft scene right now, and it is going to be Cruncher spawning down in the bottom center side. He's your orange Protoss. The yellow Zerg, of course, is going to be Vile Spanishiwa. It does say Spanshwa in the game, but his name's technically Spanishiwa, I promise.
He ran out of letters, and of course, the important things to always remove from a word are the vowels, Husky. That is how you find the pronunciation, is by the hard clicks and cuts of consonants. Yeah. See the scouting going down from Cruncher. Now, Cruncher is actually 0-2 in his group, also taking an 0-2 loss from Goody. Spanishiwa is 1-1 in his group, amazingly taking the 0-2 loss from Goody, but also beating the Korean player Golden Fo Yu. Spanishiwa showing a lot of promise there. And the question is, has he stepped up his ZvP game? We know that the classic Spanishiwa style is no gas, only queen defense. But Cruncher, I think, is one of the leading PvZers in the North American scene. Just very, very solid play. Took down Idra in the TSL. And, of course, has always been putting up decent results in that matchup. And it's a pylon at the natural expansion that makes me want to rip my head off because I get those nightmares. I get post-traumatic stress whenever I see that happen, Husky.
Yeah, well, thankfully for Spanishiwa, he did have the spawning pool down already, kind of preemptively predicting this. And for a second there, Sean, I thought you turned into a Murloc from World of Warcraft. That sound was perfect. But regardless, there is going to be the expand from Cruncher right now. We'll see if his building placement is going to be flawless. It is always important to do that. And you were mentioning the kind of playstyle Spanishiwa that he's known for. He definitely, I would say, got taken aback by Goody's timing, if you remember the kind of weird push he did. If you guys haven't seen Goody versus Spanishiwa, go check it out. Because he definitely picked apart, I would say, Spanishiwa's playstyle, and really there was no point where Spanishiwa was playing comfortably. So I would expect Cruncher here to attempt to do the same, and I don't know his experience against Spanishiwa, but we'll see if he planned for it.
And one thing that I also want to note is that I honestly don't think that it is ever that safe to go hatchery first against a Protoss. We've seen Protosses spot the hatch and then immediately, oh, holy crap, he's building a hatch in the other guy's main.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, there you go. And it's going to be spotted by Cruncher right away. Oh, Spanishiwa. If I could just give him a big bear hug for attempting this, I would. And it looks like Cruncher's pulling off all the probes. Do you think that that's the right response? Because, I mean, there's no gateway completed.
Actually, one of the smartest responses is just to build a pylon and build two cannons right next to the hatch. You can even try to wall it in with other structures you want to be building, but this is a lot of mining time that's being lost. Go to the income tab, Husky. Look at this. 330 income versus the 660 from Spanishiwa, and all he's going to have to do is cancel this. We already see that there's a hatch going down at the natural expansion, and the Spanishiwa actually starts another hatch. He could do some even more serious delays. And look at this, Spanishiwa slipping some Zerglings around the backside, going to be able to take out this pylon. I mean, amazingly, Spanishiwa actually getting somewhat of a considerable edge with this crazy hatch and main play.
Yeah, and the thing is, Sean, is I feel like that's something that Zerg players should have toyed around with before, just to see what the Protoss response was. While Spanishiwa is going to lose the resources in the hatchery itself, just losing that drone in the main base as well, I mean, it does delay the mining there so heavily. This is going to put Cruncher extremely far behind. He also lost that pylon, which is frustrating. And, yeah, I really like this from Spanishiwa. The cannon apparently attacking the supply depot there for a little bit. He does have a second cannon to back that up. So do you think Spanishiwa would have continued using that hatchery if it actually finished, or was that some sneaky ploy to try and pull off those probes?
Oh, you can absolutely do weird follow-ups where you throw down a Roach Warren while the hatch is in the course of being produced. And then pop up with some Roach in-base action, even getting a Queen in the main. The one criticism I have of Spanishiwa is that though the logic of the build was there, the logic of the play is helping him get the advantage, the unfortunate truth is that he made his Queens very late. He does only have 2 Queens out on the field, whereas he could have had 3, maybe even 4. We see the Zerglings from Spanishiwa trying to do some poking and prodding, and honestly, refinement can always help give a big edge over these sorts of strategies. So I definitely think Spanishiwa is going to have some creative ways to follow it up. But we do see that that fast layer is en route from Spanishiwa. Curious to see what he's going to be following this up with. But let me tell you what I hope is going to happen, Husky. I sincerely hope we're going to see an Overlord puke some creep at the front of the base for a big spine crawler push.
That would be exciting stuff indeed. I've been keeping an eye on the production tab. Spanishiwa has been making a lot of workers. Although he's at 37, his opponent Cruncher is at 37 as well. But that's simply because the expansion timing was so early for Cruncher. Been chrono boosting out those probes. And while he did lose mining time, he has not lost a lot of workers or anything crazy like that. And he has been mining off of 3 geysers quite consistently. And I do like this from Cruncher. He is setting up pylons all around his base as he knows Spanishiwa can do some pretty tricky things. And he does have a lot of overlords at the south side of his base. Maybe he's going to do something with those. And yeah, it will be interesting to see. He is researching at the lair there for the overlords. So he definitely seems to be doing something. He's up to something here.
Yep, pneumatized carapace en route. That was going to be that Overlord speed upgrade. Still feeling a lot like he would be doing a spine crawler push, but man, this Stargate is very fast by Cruncher. Stalker out at the front to try to repel some of these Zerglings. We see many Zerglings at the front, and there it is. There's Spanishiwa going for the big spine crawler push play. We see the spine crawlers getting produced in between the 2 bases, but he desperately needs to get an Evo chamber up. I mean, if Spanishiwa just lost due to not having anti-air, I mean, even getting Hydros at this point in time is going to be an effective choice. We see there's a Twilight Council going down now for Complexity's Cruncher. Speed Overlord from Spanishiwa gets the scout, and it is going to spot that Void Ray in production. How will he respond?
Looks like right now he's responding with 2 additional queens on the way. You can use that transfuse to keep them alive. Is Cruncher going to expect this spine crawler push? Most likely not, but then again, it is going to be Spanishiwa. He does have a lot of overlords now in position. Could use it to spew creep, to get a little creep highway going on. Here comes the Void Ray right now. Is it going to spot these spine crawlers? Right now it has not.
Ooh.
Is instead going to start going for the overlords, so Spanishiwa's play is unrecognized right now.
So the Overlord is taking a lot of damage, and there the Overlord pops. We do see all those spine crawlers beginning to make their way forward. The Queen Force from Spanishiwa, though, stuck, not advancing forward, and we do see, here's the spot by Cruncher. He sees what's coming for him, and there he also sees the spine crawlers walking their way to the front of his own base. Where's the Overlord to add the creep? Desperately needs to get more Overlords to the front. This is insanity that we're seeing, and there's the Overlord making its way up. The spine crawlers have not yet burrowed. Phoenix is trying to work down on the Overlords. There's Cruncher target firing one of the spine crawlers, but he really needs to get those queens to the front.
Yeah, and right now this is such a weird spot because the Overlords were just not here in time. The Void Rays and Phoenix are starting to be extremely pesky. Is going to be picking up all of the vital units here, trying to get the queens down here, Sean. I feel like really the Overlord timing was just way off. Can Spanishiwa hold here, though? He does have 5 queens now. The spine crawler is getting dangerously close to that Protoss base. Needs to make sure to be spewing more and more creep and keeping his queens alive.
There are a lot of Zerglings out right now, and are there any Spore Crawlers en route? Well, it looks like there's 2 Spore Crawlers in the main, 2 at the expansion. But Spanishiwa is relying on only queens for this defense. It would not hurt to have a Spine Crawler up here at the front, and even though this attack is looking very intimidating, Cruncher still does have a little bit of time to rebuild, to repel. We see there's the target firing going down on the Twilight Council. The Zerglings, oh no! The Zerglings go off and do their own thing. Those are so desperately needed to stay at the front. And we are seeing the energy on those queens very, very high. A lot of transfuses available. Queens slowly working their way forward. This is actually a very scary push by Spanishiwa.
Yeah, and would have been a little bit more scary if the timing was just spot on. The queen getting dangerously low. 1 queen does go down. The remainder of the queens, there's a lot of Phoenix here from Cruncher. I really like this, continuing to go with the airplay, and also going to be sniping the Overseer. That's vital because the Dark Shrine has just finished inside the main base of Cruncher. So Cruncher slowly getting the exact units he needs and is keeping the important units alive. But can he hold on to his expansion as he looks like he may be losing these warp gates?
Oh my gosh, an absolutely insane play. Misses the transfuse on the last queen, and there it's getting lift again. He will be able to transfuse it to keep it alive. Target firing to try to pick off that Void Ray, getting some great transfuses. In the meantime, the Spine Crawlers have worked through all the gateways that were at the front. Queens continue to not die, and another pair of queens trundle in. Oh my god, 4 queens off creep, trying to march forward right now. We do see that there are 7 queens, 8 queens out. Spanishiwa pushing forward with the Spine Crawlers. The huge queen Spine Crawler push, completely unexpected. Awesome play to watch. Incredibly sweet strategy that we are seeing out of Spanishiwa. Cruncher looking underprepared. The Spine Crawlers now picking away at the Zealots.
There are more queens now running down here, and that is just going to mean more energy for that transfuse. Unfortunately, he has not set up a creep highway all the way to his opponent's base, so those queens are going to be there in an extremely long time. The Dark Templars are going to get spotted right away, immediately sniped by these Spine Crawlers. I would say this is fairly back and forth as the Nexus has not gone down. The probes virtually untouched here, so Cruncher has been having a lot of mining time here. You got to remember that Spanishiwa has not been able to expand, and he also has no roaches or any range units here to accompany these Spine Crawlers. Only 2 Spine Crawlers remain, but look at this Spanishiwa dropping a lot of them right now. But again, he has not been able to use Spore Crawlers to defend these, and instead still, Sean, just relying on queens.
Yeah, I mean, this is great queen defense by Spanishiwa, but you have to know that this is a big momentum play right now by Cruncher. Cruncher can just hold on and hold on and hold on, and then spring forward with this huge amount of income. He has 59 probes, and the investment from Spanishiwa has been gigantic. Only 20 workers remain at home. Spanishiwa has almost committed himself to all. And look at the natural expansion from Spanishiwa. Almost nothing there. We see this increasing Phoenix Void Ray count from Cruncher, slipping through, picking off incoming queens. And it looks like here's the Zealot play from Cruncher. Advancing forward, he does have the +1 attack upgrade, and oh no, all the queens are lifted. Spine Crawlers taking massive damage. There's another big warp in with Stalkers. Cruncher looks like he's going to be able to pull a miracle defense. The Spine Crawler count has evaporated. Spanishiwa, for all his creativity, might have run out of steam. More Zerglings rushing forward. The last Spine Crawler falls. And now it is just Stalkers versus Queens. Creep completely covering the Nexus. It is down to 140 hit points, and Archon popping out right now. More Stalkers, and oh my god, Husky, I think Cruncher may have held.
Yeah, Cruncher does have a perfect army composition versus this. He does have an Archon now. Really, Spanishiwa has no answer for that. And the Nexus was so close to being destroyed.
Wow!
And there is going to be the GG from Spanishiwa, and what a GG at that. The Nexus, Sean, was so close to being destroyed. I can't help but think that if Spanishiwa was there just a little bit earlier with a longer creep highway, I feel like that is what he needed, because Spine Crawlers and Queens off creep are probably the slowest unit in the game and the slowest unit of all time in StarCraft. But he just wasn't able to get that creep highway up and running. He was so close, though, to breaking Cruncher's natural.
That really goes to show you that these sort of creative strategies that haven't been employed before actually have a lot of legitimacy, a lot of strength to them. In all honesty, if Spanishiwa had made a couple of different decisions, the game could have swung into his favor. I even think there's room to refine that to make it a standard style of play where you can be building drones throughout. I don't think the Zerglings were as necessary as Spanishiwa was making them so much. Could have maybe snuck out some more drones, but I mean, that's the sort of game that makes StarCraft 2 fun to watch and really gets you thinking as a Protoss and as a Zerg.
Yeah, great stuff there. Spanishiwa known for his creative builds like this. I believe during that, yeah, he was only mining off of 1 gas. I don't know. He hardly mined anything off of there, only getting like 100 minerals out of that first geyser and really sticking to mass drones, or not mass drones, but to the mass queens and trying to push with the Spine Crawlers using those drones. And I got to hand it to Cruncher, thinking on his feet. This is obviously something you're not going to go up against very often, and Cruncher had the perfect response. I feel like his unit composition was very well thought out, and he was utilizing the units perfectly, and even trying to get DTs there to take his opponent by surprise with that. So a great response from Cruncher, showing you that he is a top player as well. I mean, when something comes at you that you've never seen before, it definitely takes a good player to react accordingly, not just kind of, get the tunnel vision and do what you normally have to. And, I got to hand to Cruncher, man. Great game. So we are going to go ahead and move on to game number 2. We can only pray that it will be as epic as the one we just watched. So here we go right now into game number 2, Cruncher versus Spanishiwa.